Hello and welcome. You're watching NewsX. I am Meenakshi Upreti. Now, days before Rahul Gandhi's Launchpad 2.0 in a new avatar, there is a massive jolt to the Grand Old Party. Gandhi loyalist and a veteran of the Congress, Ghulam Azad, has quit the party today. In a scathing resignation letter, which has now gone viral, Ghulam Azad hit out directly at Rahul, quote-unquote, for immaturity and demolishing the consultative mechanism in the party. Many other leaders from the JNK followed Mr. Azad. In a single day, Congress suffered 3 setbacks. Jugal Kishore, 5 other top politicians of the party, including GM Saruri, Haji Abdul Rashid, Muhammad Amin Bhatt, Gulzar Ahmad Wani and Chaudhary Muhammad Akram resigned from the primary membership of Congress in support of Ghulam Azad. And sources say that a long list is also awaited. Renowned names, remember, earlier like Jyotiraditya Scindia, Kapil Sibal, RPN Singh, many others, Jitin Prasada, I mean this list can go on and on, who have abandoned the Grand Old Party. The question at the end of the day which remains is that are Gandhis the only clue which can run the Congress party, or can Congress run sans the Gandhi? Or in fact, as a bigger question which Mr. Nabi raised himself, is it possible for any leader, if at all, other than the Gandhis chosen as the president of the party to act independently, or will he or she be just a proxy? Let's open this up for discussion. KC Sharma, BJP spokesperson with us, Mayur Shah, Congress spokesperson also with us, Sumit Peer, political commentator, Paramveer Singh, also a political commentator with us. I'm going to start first of all with you, Mayur Shah. I'm sure you would agree today, there's something going wrong with the Congress. This is the time when you all would have wanted us in the media to speak of Bharat Jodo, but all of us are speaking of Congress Jodo because it seems to be a completely dismantled house from within.
Meenakshi, unfortunately, when, if the concerns are political in nature, these are the concerns that can be addressed by the leadership. But when the factors that drive a particular decision of however senior a particular leader may be, when the factors driving those decisions are sheer greed and quest for power, just because you were, and it's not that the party did not want to give you a Rajya Sabha, but also you have to open doors for your members. The root cause of this decision that Mr. Azad has taken is that, on one occasion that the party wanted you to give back. You read the letter of Ghulam Azad ji. In that letter itself is self-explanatory as to what all the Congress has done for him. This is an occasion where the Congress party is looking up to its leaders to give back to the party, looking up to the leaders who have been groomed and cultivated and nurtured by the party over years and decades. So, Ghulam Azad ji has himself confessed.
No, he has
what
confessed.
All the party has done for him.
Okay, I'm sorry I'm interrupting you. He has confessed. In fact, the first 2 to 3 paragraphs of his letter are dedicated to his allegiance to the party, his loyalism to the party and what the party has. But at the same time, sir, there is a scathing attack of the Gandhis as well. A coterie, a cabal, which is flourishing, he claims, in the Congress party. And this isn't the first time he's flagged those concerns. What about G23? Why were those concerns not addressed earlier?
Who made him a minister, Meenakshi? I mean, if he has problems with the Gandhi family, who made him a minister? Who made him a chief minister? These are things that when the going was fine, when the Congress party, and let's be realistic here. I say that all's well with the Congress party, I'll be lying. That's the reason why the Udaipur Chintan Shivir was organized. And that Udaipur Chintan Shivir was a very, it was a forum for a very candid conversation, and all these issues were raised. Mr. Ghulam Azad was on board when a decision was taken that, the 50% of party posts and 50% of electoral representation of the party will be given to people below the age of 50 so as to create a new leadership for the party. Now, you want to behave like a banyan tree which will not let any other tree flourish under its own branch. That's not how things are going to function. We are not like BJP. BJP has been very ruthless, as far as
no, sir, but there is something wrong, and I'll tell you what. I'm glad that
Meenakshi, I'm not saying that.
Okay, I'm glad.
Don't saying that nothing's wrong, Meenakshi.
Yes, so as I said, I'm glad that you have accepted that there is something wrong. The problem is, it doesn't look like the Congress is addressing them, sir. That's why perhaps you're seeing so many resignations. Look at the spate of resignations. I would like to bring in other panelists as well. You hold on to that thought, and we'll speak specifically of Jammu and Kashmir Congress and the fate of the Congress. Okay, finish quickly, 10-20 seconds, and then I'll go to other panelists.
To this issue of how the party should address. You think that what can a political party do when the quest is greed? When the quest is improvement of within party, when the quest is internal deliberations within party, all these things are addressed. There are a lot of
so you're saying
problems. It is sheer greed. It is sheer
You're
greed.
calling it sheer greed, sheer individualism. Mr. Ghulam Nabi Azad said his concerns were not addressed, and this is not the first leader who said it. There are so many leaders, and I can espouse name after name. So Shmita, you had Sushmita Dev, you had, of course, many other leaders. You had Jyoti Aditya Scindia, Mr. Jitin Prasad, and so many others who have spoken of the same cabal and coterie and the inaccessibility of the Gandhis. And I'll come to that point as well. KC Sharma, if you could come in here, sir. Many Congress leaders today are attacking the BJP. In fact, they claim this is all acting or rather happening at the behest of the Prime Minister. He has the backing, Mr. Nabi has the backing of BJP and perhaps plans to float his own party and wants to become, the Chief Minister is eyeing the seat of the CM in Jammu and Kashmir, and that's why all this drama. How do you respond, first of all, to this allegation?
Actually, it has become a practice for the Congress whenever any leader left the Congress and they start blaming the Bharatiya Janata Party. They should first see internally what is the problem. The problem is they have a lot of focus onto the one family, one person, and that is the problem. They don't want to go beyond that, and they don't want to look in other opportunity in other leaders. They don't want to give the opportunity to other leaders. They just want to stick with the one family, one person. What today is happening? Rahul Gandhi is remotely managing the Congress. He doesn't want to take a responsibility, but he wants the power. The power is with him, but there is no responsibility with him. So that is what's happening in the Congress, and he's insulting all the seniors. That's why all the seniors.
But does the BJP have anything to do with it? That's the Congress's allegation, and my very limited question.
BJP has nothing to do with this. It is their internal problem. They have to address it, and it is because of their family politics, their individual politics.
Okay.
If they do not rectify it, then it will continue.
So you say that it's an individual and individualistic problem of the Congress. It's infighting. BJP has nothing to do with it. Sumit Peer, you heard the Congress spokesperson. The Congress says that it's the greed of one person. It's an individual decision. It doesn't reflect really on the ethos or the culture or the way the party is run. Do you buy this argument at all, first of all?
Well, Meenakshi, the point here is that, whoever joins Congress or is a part of Congress, there's one unstated and explicit fact. Gandhi is Congress, Congress is Gandhi. That is how the source code is written. It's a star architecture, it's a hub and spoke model. You have to live with it. That, Mr. Rahul Gandhi might have some limitations or Ms. Sonia Gandhi might have some advantages, but that is how the Congress works. Today, after 50 years, what makes Mr. Azad to think that I should desert the Congress? Is that they're saying that the Congress's fortunes are dwindling and there's not a lot of space left for him, or his brand of politics has decided to leave the politics. Why didn't he leave the politics way back? He could have left the Congress 10 to 20 years back. Now, instantly, when he leaves, all the people from J&K are also leaving and they're forming their own political party. So it is somewhere down the line, you're weighing your political options, you're weighing the political things, and you're seeing what is the best option for you. In today's time, it makes sense to desert the Congress, or deserting the Congress. Yeah, there are some allegations against Mr. Rahul Gandhi, but that is nothing new. I mean, you see from, I'll take you to, Sharad Pawarji, go to Didi, go to P.S. Agma Sahab, and come to Hardik Patel. If you go from, 20, 30, 40 years back into Hardik Patel, now this is how people have done. They have all left Congress and formed their own parties. The Congress is like that. Either you live here or you leave here. Now, when you are leaving, you can't put all the blames on Congress. Because if you have to leave, why didn't you leave with Sharad Pawar? Why didn't you leave when Mamata Didi left? When did you leave much before? Today, you're possibly saying there's nothing left to hardness. Bhai, ab khoon choos liya Congress ka, kuch bacha nahi hai. Let me see what can I get out of it. It's as simple as that.
Okay,
and
interesting analysis. Interesting analysis. I'll go back to Congress. I'll go back to the Congress spokesperson on this. Paramveer Singh, would you agree with Sumit that Congress is synonymous with the Gandhis? Gandhis are tantamount to the Congress. Congress cannot exist without the Gandhis, because that's one of the points which Mr. Nabi has also raised. Mr. Ghulam Nabi Azad, in his scathing indictment in his letter, says that even if the Congress chooses a new president, it's only going to be a rubber stamp president. So there is no point of these internal elections for the post of the Congress president taking place. How do you react?
Actually, I fully agree with Mr. Sumit. Congress, since the days of Indira Gandhi, it was synonymous to call Gandhi, Indira is Congress, Congress is Indira. And moreover, all is not well in the Congress since the loss of 2014 elections. The Congress people are still living in the hangover of the Rajiv Gandhi era. It was famous to say that the Doom School cabinet a term was used, doom school cabinet, when all the people, cabinet ministers were the batchmates or schoolmates of Mr. Rajiv Gandhi. Congress still thinks to drive the country that way only, but it is not possible. Congress veteran Ghulam Nabi Azad, to be noted, is not only a veteran and senior leader, but also a former Chief Minister of Jammu and Kashmir, a troubled state. I would mention here a troubled state. And his accusation against Rahul Gandhi for immaturity and for demolishing the consultative mechanism in the party. This is a serious allegation. And this accusation of Ghulam Nabi Azad is rolled for Gandhi family and in particular to Rahul Gandhi. Above all, it is a question over Rahul Gandhi's leadership. In future, if he ever makes a mind to lead the Congress party, how? I don't think there is no credibility left now.
No credibility left, that's what you say, okay. And I think it's only fair that we give Mayur Jha an opportunity to speak here, because the last thing we want is to this discussion to become a 3:1. Mayur, look, there are a lot of allegations directly against the Gandhis. Mr. Ghulam Nabi Azad in his letter called Rahul Gandhi immature, said that a coterie or a cabal is existing in the Congress party and that the veterans are being pushed into a corner. What do you say of all these allegations? Because again, I reiterate, he isn't the first leader who has raised such concerns. It was the G23 earlier who had, raised some serious issues as far as the Congress party is concerned. Looks like no rectification has been made, and that's why end of the day, I'm sure at least you'll recognize that he was a tall leader of the party, and him quitting the party is going to affect the prospects of the party, even if we speak perhaps of J&K, isn't it?
Meenakshi, go into the details of who are the leaders who have left Congress party and what is the similarity between all these leaders. All these leaders have been blue-eyed boys of the leadership. All these leaders have got much more than what was due to them when the party was in power and when the going was good as far as the party is concerned. Whether it be Arpin Singh, whether it be Ghulam Nabi Azad, whether it be Jyotiraditya Scindia, they were all part of the decision making. The one allegation they all make is that they didn't have access. That's a blatant lie that they utter. All of them had absolutely free-flowing access to the top leadership of the party, whether it is Mrs. Sonia Gandhi or so all you have to really hard get back to the feet, have really hard Congress back to the days when you were.
Okay, Mayur, you know what?
The thing is that jab tak, actually, one second.
Mayur, we have a network issue with you. We have a network issue with you. I know you're driving. Why don't you stop your car or look for a place where you have better network? Because as of now, it's a little difficult to understand you. And again, as I said, it's best that since you represent the Congress, there are a lot of questions coming your way and we would like you to address them. While you fix that network, KC Sharma sir, if you could come in here. Far as the Congress says, they say we accept that there is something wrong in our party and we are trying to fix it. But the BJP is also trying to take advantage of it and maligning us further unnecessarily. What do you have to say on this?
BJP has nothing to do with this.
Okay.
Congress is having a lot of problem, and that problem is because of the one family, one person. If they do not go away with that family, then they cannot solve their problem. Because they are ignoring everybody just for that family. Not only these recent leaders, but the big leaders. Now they are running a government in their own state. Just see the Didi. She's now the big party and she's running a government into the West Bengal. Now see the Jagan Mohan Reddy. He's running a government into Andhra Pradesh. Now no more Congress into the Andhra Pradesh. What happened in Haryana? In each and every state, just see what is happening, because they don't want to keep anybody who can challenge the Rahul Gandhi. And that is the problem.
That is the problem. Okay, you say Gandhis are the biggest problem of the Congress party. Mayur, if you can hear us, and I hope your audio issues have been fixed now. Far as Rahul Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi are concerned, end of the day, it does look like that the Congress is becoming synonymous to the Gandhis. There was no doubt actually about that in anyone's mind that the top leadership, everyone de facto, whoever is the president is the final decision making authority is going to be with the Congress. Do you not think this resignation by Ghulam Nabi Azad has severely dented the image of your party further? The BJP has been attacking you, calling you dynasty party, parivarvad and all that. How do you go back to the electorate when your top leaders are exiting the party and attacking your own leadership?
Meenakshi, Mrs. Gandhi was never interested in pursuing active politics. when after the unfortunate demise of her husband in 1991, Mrs. Gandhi had decided to stay away from public life.
But she was the de facto. But are you saying she didn't call the shots in the Congress?
Never.
Are we kidding?
She didn't. It was only on the insistence, Mrs. Gandhi, only on the insistence of the Congress leaders accepted to come back into active politics, because at that point of time, that was necessary, and that was the only leadership available that could have revived the Congress party in 1998. From where Mrs. Gandhi revived the Congress party in 1998.
Let's talk of today. Let's talk of today. She did revive the Congress party then. Let's come to today.
No, I'm coming to that. Meenakshi.
Yeah.
All these leaders, I'm telling you, all these leaders have been the biggest beneficiaries of the power when the going was good for the Congress party. The only thing today they have realized is that, and it is very unfortunate from the Congress party point of view also, is that we've been blindly investing in all these leaders politically over the last so many years, and today the only one thing they have realized is that this is not the time.
But you will not accept, sir, you're calling him greedy and all that. That's fine. Maybe he has. But you are not accepting. One question, sir, please, one question. You are not accepting, you're not ready to accept that a strong leader has left your party. You do not think it's going to have any impact on your party. Look at JNK. He's not the only one. 5 to 6 other leaders have followed him. There is a spate of resignations.
Who made him strong? He was strong because the votes were given in the name of Mrs. Gandhi. At that point, the votes were given to the Congress party. The votes were given in the name of the Congress party. Till the time the votes were coming in the name of Congress party, you were very happy. And you were very happily leveraging the fruits of the hard work that the Gandhi family was doing.
Okay, I've taken your point. This is the 4th time you're repeating it. You're calling him a backstabber. He reaped the benefits when going was good. Today your party is not in good shape. He's quit. I've taken that point. What next? How do you think it's going to impact your party? Is it not going to impact your party when we speak even of JNK, because reports are coming in, he could float his own party?
Let him float his own party. I mean, it's a free country. We are a democratic country. He has every democratic right to float his own party. Mr. Rahul Gandhi's priority right now is to go back to the people of the country. And this is something that in Udaipur Shivir, Mr. Rahul Gandhi had very categorically said that the biggest problem, the biggest challenge that the Congress party has been facing, and it's not a problem that started in 2014. It's a problem that perhaps started before 2014. The biggest problem that the Congress party is facing is that we have lost some of the connect with the ground. And today, the Congress party's priority is to establish that reconnect with the ground.
Yes, sir, you want to establish the reconnect, but when your top leaders are deserting you, when the top leaders are mocking your leadership, when the top leaders who are deserting your party, who are quitting, they are calling Rahul Gandhi childish, you think it's going to have no impact? Sumit Peer, would you say the Congress is still in denial mode?
Selfish approach of some top leaders, and there's nothing that the Congress party can do about it. Inko chahiye jab tak paka pakaya khana mil raha hai.
Sir, I've taken that point. But you're not taking my question directly on the impact it's going to have on your party. The impact it's going to have on your party. And also,
I'm telling you, Congress party, the Congress party is going to revive like never before. We are working on a plan to revive.
Okay, so it's not going to impact you. Congress will be revived.
It is only going to, whoever wants to leave the party is free to leave the party. The Congress party is going to committedly work towards establishing its reconnect with the ground. We are reconnecting with the people of India.
Can the Congress, Sir Sumit Peer, as a political commentator, can the Congress reinvigorate its cadre? Can it reconnect with the people? They are recognizing they have a brand issue. They have an issue when it comes to connecting with the grassroots people. But it doesn't look like that they're still ready to accept and sort of work on the internal issues. There's so much infighting in the Congress party. End of the day, when they go back to the electorate, it's certainly going to have an impact.
You see, Meenakshi, that goes without saying this is going to all have an impact, because all these things matter in politics. The perception is you're losing ground, your leaders are deserting you. But the bigger question is Congress willing to change? The second biggest question is, can Congress afford to change? If you take out the Gandhis from the centerpiece, will the party exist? Will the party hold together? In best of my knowledge, it cannot. Because you may challenge the effectiveness of the glue, but that is the central glue. And people who have left Congress have made their own parties, have made their
So have the Congress become a liability? The Gandhis become a liability for the Congress? That is also a question. That is also a question.
It's a two-way ticket.
Yes,
it's a two-way side.
Certainly. And I'm keeping your answers short, because it's only right that the Congress spokesperson gets a maximum time, because every question is directed to or against the Congress. Paramveer Singh, before I go back, of course, to the BJP, one more question for you. The Congress says that it's simply the greed of those leaders. These leaders leaving is not going to have an impact, and we will reconnect with the electorate. Your thoughts?
I do not agree with Congress spokesperson because while Ghulam Nabi Azad and Anand Sharma has already left the Congress party and number of leaders you have mentioned earlier also, Meenakshi, but Congress is accusing them that Congress has given them everything. But do not forget that Ghulam Nabi Azad has a mass following in Jammu and Kashmir. He had steered the Jammu and Kashmir in the troubled time. So calling him not a mass leader, Rahul Gandhi has lost his seat in Amethi. I am not a fortune teller, but I can guess that Mrs. Sonia Gandhi is not going to contest this time because she too may lose. So everything is not well among the Congress people. And I would like to mention here the case of Y.S. Rajashekara Reddy, who entered Congress in 1978 and kept winning from his constituency. He stayed with the party even when it was not in power, and went on to become the chief minister only in 2004. So the BJP, and the same is the case with the BJP. BJP has been losing the election, but still they have been in the field. And such a disarray, what is happening today in Congress, BJP has never felt the same. So how can I think Gandhi family has become a liability to the Congress itself.
Gandhi family has become a liability. KC Sharma, the biggest beneficiary seems to be the BJP. Far as the Congress is concerned, they say that if Mr. Ghulam Nabi Azad floats his own party, BJP is going to benefit from it. If this actually happens, even though it's in the realm of speculation, will the BJP be open to joining hands with him? Okay, KC Sharma, can you hear us? Okay, we seem to be having some trouble with the BJP spokesperson there. I'll go back to Mayur. Mayur, there were 2-3 questions directed at you. One, that you have lost a mass leader. You do not think it's going to have any impact on Jammu and Kashmir? If no, then why so? Because he is the most popular leader when we speak of J&K Congress, and perhaps the only recognizable face from Congress J&K who actually fights and wins elections far as a national thing is concerned. Now, what about the Gandhis? Can the Congress exist without the Gandhis? Even if a new president is sworn in, will he actually have any powers, or will it be a rubber stamp?
And I'll not mix my words when I say that Congress is, Gandhis are central to the functioning of the Congress party. Congress party, Gandhis represent the idea that, it represents the idea of Congress. Gandhis represent the idea of India. What the Gandhi family has done for this country and what the Gandhi family has done for the Congress party, I'm not going to get into that because all of that is a matter of documented history. As far as the credibility of Rahul Gandhi is concerned, I request my friends not to speculate on the credibility of Mr. Rahul Gandhi. Let this yatra conclude and then we'll talk about the credibility of Mr. Rahul Gandhi after that.
Sir, but credibility is gauged by electoral. Credibility is gauged by your popularity, by the electoral results. How can you say that nobody can speak on Rahul Gandhi at all? Tell me one thing, if he was so capable, then why are so many of your leaders deserting your party? Why is Mr. Azad calling him childish and whatnot, sir? Do you not think it affects the leader and the leadership also?
Mr. Rahul Gandhi's priority today is to build a new brand of the Congress leadership. A new generation of Congress leaders are being groomed, and going forward, you will see the impact of the grooming of these leaders on the electoral politics.
Okay, point 2. Question number 2. Can Congress exist without Gandhis? If you have a non-Gandhi president, will he actually have any power, or will he be rubber stamp? Because that seems to be the guess of just about everyone here.
Meenakshi, Congress is the only party that functions democratically. Contrary to the perception created in some sections of media, Congress is the only party that functions democratically. Ask Mr. Ghulam Nabi Azad as to how he was made the Chief Minister of Jammu and Kashmir. How was Mr. Siddaramaiah for the first time made the Chief Minister of Karnataka?
Okay.
How was Mr. Bhupesh Baghel?
So you're saying Congress is a very democratic party? Congress is a very democratic party, but really going by the spate of resignations and the statements which are being made. In fact, latest you had Anand Sharma, who's still in the party, but he refused the top post. Most of the old guard saying that they have been sidelined. It's Rahul Gandhi and his coterie which has taken over. It's not my words, it's the word of your own leaders, and that's why really this discussion and the question around what's going wrong with the Congress. But KC Sharma, if Mr. Ghulam Nabi Azad forms his own party, will the BJP be open to joining hands with him? End of the day, there can't be any denying you're the biggest beneficiary of what's happening, in the Congress. The implosion in the Congress and fighting in the Congress is equal to BJP, of course, gaining more traction.
Hello, आवाज आ रही है?
जी सर, आवाज आ रही है. Please go ahead. KC Sharma ji, we can hear you. Okay, we seem to be having a trouble with Mr. KC Sharma's audio there, and we'll get back to him very, very shortly. Sumit P, Congress, most democratic party in the country, your reaction?
Congress is the most democratic party in the in the country. Then Communist Party of China is equally democratic. You have a system where there's a fixed budget every year. There is one for last 30 years. Your president coming from one family, and they are by default going to be the president. The day Mr. Rahul Gandhi was born, he was destined to become the president of the party. Can you tell me it is not true? I mean, let's not hide that. Whatever.
Okay, Mayur, go ahead, make your point quickly. Okay, let's give it to him.
Let's stay with it. There is whatever.
Let's not shout over each other, gentlemen.
No, I'm not shouting.
Yes, Mayur, yes, please, quickly make your point.
Mr. Rahul Gandhi, these are the words of Mr. Rahul Gandhi. Mr. Rahul Gandhi said that the Congress needs a president from outside of the Gandhi family.
So,
Mr. Rahul Gandhi has said, and listen, please understand, please understand.
Okay.
Mr. Rahul Gandhi is the most misinterpreted politician of this country. He has to go through so much of, so many attacks for no rhyme or reason.
But sir, do you want us to believe?
One second. Yes, you have to believe it. I'm telling you, Rahul Gandhi, every single worker of the Congress party. By worker, I mean the grassroots worker of this Congress party.
Okay.
You run a media company, you send your stringer on the ground and ask any worker at the ground of the Congress party who he wants or who she wants to be the president of the Congress party, and you will get your answer.
So you're saying it's Rahul Gandhi who should be the president? If it is Mr. Gandhi, then why the G23 writing letters against him? Why has Ghulam Nabi Azad quit, sir? Those are also questions which you need to ponder on. It does look like that till now the Congress is slightly in denial mode. KC Sharma is back with us. KC Sharma, BJP, the biggest beneficiary. I've taken your point, sir.
The past of the Congress party, I am the future of the Congress party.
Okay, you're calling him past of Congress, but will the ghost of the past haunt you in JNK? But do you not think the ghost of the past will haunt you in JNK? Hold on to that thought. Let me bring in KC Sharma. He's also back. Let me bring in KC Sharma. I'll come to you. KC Sharma, if Mr. Ghulam Nabi Azad forms his own party, will you be open to joining hands with him? End of the day, there's no denying the fact. Whether you had a hand in it or not, the implosion in the party, end of the day, does benefit the BJP.
Our parliament vote will decide. It's too early to comment on it. Okay. But the major problem is Congress doesn't want to recognize the problem. They want to leave all the capable leader. As I told you, the many leaders who are running as their government in a state, they don't want to recognize them as a leader because they feel like Rahul Gandhi is only the leader to the Congress. And they say and they claim we are a democratic party. If you are a democratic party, then why only the two people are the president for last 24 years? When in a BJP, about 6 to 7 presidents are changed.
You know how
so that is like, even you are not able to conduct the election. The basic or must activity into the Democratic Party, and you call yourself as a Democratic Party. What sort of the Democratic Party?
Okay, last word to Mayur. Last word to Mayur. Mayur, I'm giving you the last word. Mayur, I'm giving you the last word. Adding a question. I'm giving you 40 seconds. Last word to you. Do you not think the ghost of the past will haunt you? Even in JNK, you say that Mr. Ghulam Nabi Azad's resignation will have no impact. He was the biggest face of your party in the state, in the UT at least as of now. He's most likely to form his own party. So many other top leaders of the Congress in JNK are following him. It's going to have no impact, you say, even as we close?
Living murderers are more scary than the ghosts. So we are not scared of the ghosts. Okay. We are more scared of the living murderers within the party. It's better that they leave the party and they become ghosts for us, whether they haunt us or not.
Actually, can I make a 5-second point? 1 second.
And Mr. Khemchand Sharma ji, you talked about the democratic processes of the Congress party. Mrs. Gandhi for the first time became the president of the Congress party in a direct election.
No, sir, I've taken your point. I don't have enough time to. Sir, I'm so sorry, Sumit. I can't take a last question. I also don't have time to ruminate or go back into the history of the Congress party. You've made your point. You feel that Mr. Ghulam Nabi Azad's exit is not going to have any impact on the party. You claim that the Congress party is very democratic. To be very, very honest, it doesn't look like that your arguments can really be taken at face value, considering what Ghulam Nabi Azad himself had to say. There are some serious allegations against the Congress party, top leadership of the Congress party. Perhaps, yes, to that limited extent, the Congress accept that there are some issues. They need to work on those issues. So for that, of course, I give you credit, and thank you all for joining us, especially the Congress spokesperson who took a lot of difficult questions. End of the day, no doubt that there is something going wrong with the Congress party. There are multiple setbacks, top leader after leader quitting the Congress party. What impact it's going to have on the JNK elections? Will really it impact even the credibility of the Bharat Jodo Andolan, which Rahul Gandhi was planning? In fact, the fact that Mr. Ghulam Nabi Azad's resignation and all these allegations have come right before the presidential elections in the Congress.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.